As a new generation begins to take center stage. For the first time, Jonathan Osteen spoke at Saturday and Sunday.
Jonathan, the son of renowned televangelist Joel Osteen, may be facing a challenging and difficult period in his life due to a recent tragic situation. As a preacher, Jonathan has always tried to follow in his father's footsteps, but this incident may prevent him from standing in front of a congregation. The details of what happened to Jonathan Osteen, the son of one of the world's most prominent gospel ministers, are indeed sad and tragic. Joel Osteen, the renowned pastor of Lakewood Church, has significantly influenced millions through his sermons, books, and televised programs. However, the public's perception of the Osteen family's prosperity, unity, and faith is contrasted by some shocking and controversial truths that have recently come to light. The spotlight is currently on Jonathan Osteen, the eldest child of Joel and Victoria Osteen, who is a talented singer and guitarist and a prominent figure in Lakewood Church. Jonathan has been deeply connected to his family's church ministry since he was young. He is a talented musician who performs and leads worship as part of the church's band, often playing contemporary Christian music that he has composed and produced. Despite his focus on the music ministry, Jonathan also occasionally speaks at various church events. In 2016, he and his sister Alexandra helped lead worship for a large audience of 45,000 people at their parents' annual event. Jonathan Osteen, a prominent figure in the Night of Hope Christian events, is facing a serious legal challenge stemming from a car accident in 2016. He allegedly rear-ended another vehicle on a Texas highway, causing the occupants Tony Tran and Q Vu to be hospitalized. The victims have filed a lawsuit against Jonathan, seeking over $1 million in damages. This controversy threatens not only Jonathan's personal life, but also the reputation of his family and their church. The situation has created a significant challenge for Jonathan, and it remains to be seen whether he will be able to continue his role as a worship leader and speaker in the future. Proceed along St. Joseph Street. Jonathan was driving southbound when he suddenly rear-ended the victim's vehicle. The impact of the collision severely damaged the rear of the victim's car, and they were immediately transported by ambulance to the Palacios Community Medical Center. Although the incident initially seemed like an uncontrollable accident, the victims, Tran and Vu, later claimed that the crash could have been avoided. They alleged that Jonathan was distracted and inattentive at the time of the collision, as he was listening to music and using his cellular phone, and also appeared very tired. Despite being in this state, they claimed that Jonathan continued to drive negligently and made no effort to avoid the collision. Jonathan failed to pay attention to the road and traffic ahead, which led to the collision. There were no skid marks, indicating he did not try to avoid the crash. The police report found that his failure to control his speed was the sole cause of the accident. Tran and Vu sued Jonathan for gross negligence, seeking $1 million in damages for their injuries, mental anguish, disfigurement, medical expenses, lost wages, and property damage. They also included Jonathan's parents, Joel and Victoria, in the lawsuit, believing he was acting on behalf of Lakewood Church at the time of the incident. Although Joel and Victoria withdrew themselves from the lawsuit, leaving Jonathan as the primary defendant, the damage had already been done. The lawsuit had already negatively impacted their reputation and that of their church. The media and critics began questioning why Jonathan would put his life and others' lives at risk by texting and driving. They started examining his moral values and even went so far as to question his parents, Joel and Victoria, about his morals and upbringing. Some noted that Jonathan, who is widely regarded as the heir to Lakewood Church's leadership, should learn to uphold his family's values and morals. They also noted that given the Osteen family's platform of promoting Christian virtues such as responsibility and humility, Jonathan displayed traits of recklessness and negligence, which sparked much criticism. This was not the only time the Ost family had come under fire due to their choices, as Jonathan was caught in another controversy shortly after the car crash, where he and his parents were accused of promoting satanic practices after their photos were published. The images of Joel, Victoria, and their son Jonathan making a hand gesture resembling the devil's horns during his University of Texas graduation ceremony caused a stir on Twitter. While this gesture is the established symbol for the school's mascot, some viewers interpreted it as a sign of the occult. When Victoria shared the photo on social media, critics demanded an explanation, expressing disbelief that a preacher's family would use such a symbol. Some questioned whether the gesture represented an affiliation with the devil, which contradicted their positive teachings. The couple clarified that they were simply participating in a long-standing university tradition dating back to 1955, where a student had noticed that the sign produced a shadow resembling the school's mascot. However, the horn gesture can have different meanings in various cultural contexts, such as a superstitious sign against evil in Italy and other parts of Europe. Europe, or a symbol associated with heavy metal music. While some congratulated the couple, others were outraged that they would use such a controversial sign publicly, highlighting the challenges of being constantly under public scrutiny. Growing up in the public eye and being held to a high moral standard has been a heavy burden for Jonathan Osteen. As the son of Joel Osteen, a renowned religious leader, Jonathan was thrust into the spotlight from a young age, having to grapple with the expectations placed on him as the heir to this religious empire. Jonathan has faced the constant pressure to live up to his father's image, known for his uplifting sermons, best-selling books, and unwavering optimism. Although this persona has endeared Joel Osteen to millions, it has also attracted criticism. As a member of the Osteen family, Jonathan has been immersed in Lakewood Church's ministry from an early age, which can be seen as an opportunity for growth, but also comes with significant responsibilities and pressures that he is expected to carry forward. The weekend event was established by his grandfather John Osteen and later expanded by his father Joel. His first sermon, delivered on Father's Day in 2019, was a significant and closely watched occasion for him, representing a meaningful milestone. Jonathan's journey into the public eye is often compared to his father's global influence. Despite the pressures, he has carved out a path for himself in the gospel music industry, contributing to the Lakewood Church worship team while also developing his personal brand. Some of his notable songs include Alive, Let It Be Known, and In the Name. Jonathan acknowledges that growing up in such a high-profile family has been a blessing, and his relationship with his father, Joel, is one of encouragement and mentorship rather than pressure. This may stem from witnessing the controversies and accusations his parents and their church have faced over the years. Despite their many positive impacts, John and Dodie Oseen's church started small in an abandoned feed store, but with dedication, it steadily grew under John's leadership. Unfortunately, John passed away in 1999, and his son Joel took on the role of senior pastor. Despite having minimal formal theological training, Joel had never preached before and didn't have the desire to until the Sunday before his father's death. As the church grew, Joel preferred to work behind the scenes, even leaving his studies at Oral Roberts University in 1982 to join his father's staff as a television producer. However, when his father was hospitalized and couldn't continue preaching, Joel reluctantly stepped into the spotlight. Joel's father listened to the sermon that Sunday from his hospital bed and was very impressed, with the nurses saying they'd never seen him happier and prouder. John Osteen's untimely death led Joel to believe that God wanted him to lead the Lakewood Church. Under Joel's leadership, the church expanded rapidly, moving to a renovated $100 million facility in Houston in 2005. The weekly services started drawing tens of thousands of in-person viewers and millions more through broadcasts, making Joel a prominent figure in the rise of megachurches. By 2016, the weekly attendance had grown to over 50,000, and Joel's televised services reached households in over 100 countries, becoming a top-rated inspirational program. However, this rapid growth and success have not been without challenges and controversies, particularly regarding Joel's theology, which is often labeled as the prosperity gospel, the gospel you may inquire. Well, it is the good news or message about Jesus Christ and the salvation he offers. The controversial prosperity gospel ideology has gained significant traction in recent decades, particularly within certain Christian denominations and megachurches. This doctrine teaches that by cultivating a strong faith in God, maintaining a positive and optimistic mindset, and making generous financial contributions, individuals can achieve a high degree of material, physical, and personal success. Proponents of the prosperity gospel argue that this message aligns with the biblical principles of God's desire for his followers to prosper and live abundantly. However, this theology has faced intense criticism from many within the Christian community. Critics contend that the prosperity gospel places an undue emphasis on the attainment of earthly riches and temporal well-being, often at the expense of addressing core Christian tenets such as the acknowledgement of sin, the necessity of repentance, and the centrality of salvation through Jesus Christ's sacrifice on the cross. They argue that this doctrine promotes a self-centered, consumeristic approach to faith, where the focus is shifted away from worshiping God and toward the pursuit of personal gain and material prosperity. In a televised news segment, a theologian further elaborated on this critique, stating that the prosperity gospel message effectively makes religion about the individual human rather than about God. By downplaying or avoiding discussions of sin, divine judgment, and the transformative power of salvation, the prosperity gospel is seen as watering down the true gospel and distorting the nature of the Christian faith. This theological expert asserted that the prosperity gospel's exclusive exclusive focus on wealth, health, and personal success undermines the biblical teachings of humility, sacrificial service, and the costly journey of discipleship that Jesus calls his followers to embrace. The controversy surrounding the prosperity gospel has sparked ongoing debates within the Christian community, as believers grapple with the tension between the promise of earthly abundance and the call to surrender one's life to the radical, self-denying message of the cross. This doctrinal dispute highlights the challenges of maintaining a balanced and holistic understanding of the Christian faith in the face of increasingly popular, yet theologically questionable teachings that prioritize individual fulfillment over God's sovereign purposes. During a widely publicized interview in 2011, the renowned televangelist Joel Osteen faced intense scrutiny for his vague and evasive responses when directly questioned about controversial social and religious issues, particularly concerning the topic of homosexuality. Many critics and religious scholars argued that Osteen's answers on these sensitive matters lacked clarity, nuance, and a firm grounding in established Christian doctrine, suggesting that he had deliberately adopted a diplomatically ambiguous stance in order to avoid alienating or offending a significant portion of his vast and diverse audience. Some commentators went even further, proposing that Osteen's primary motivation for sidestepping direct engagement with such contentious topics was a strong preoccupation with protecting his own carefully cultivated public image and the financial prosperity of both himself and his megachurch, Lakewood Church. There were accusations that Osteen's reluctance to take firm moral stands or wade into theological debate stemmed from a fear of potential backlash from more orthodox or conservative Christian factions, which could potentially lead to a significant drop in his and the church's considerable income streams. Indeed, the immense financial success of the Osteen family, including their reported ownership of a $10.5 million mansion, has long been a source of controversy and scrutiny, with critics arguing that such lavish displays of wealth are at odds with the teachings of humility and simplicity traditionally associated with Christian spiritual leaders. While Osteen has maintained that he does not personally receive a salary as the senior pastor of Lakewood Church, the sheer scale of the church's operations and the Osteen's opulent lifestyle have done little to quell the perception that the prosperity gospel preached from Lakewood's pulpit is primarily self-serving rather than truly focused on the spiritual well-being of the congregation. Overall, the 2011 interview and the ensuing debates surrounding Osteen's leadership have highlighted the complex and often contentious role of megachurch pastors in navigating the competing demands of their religious calling, their public personas, and the financial realities of managing a vast religious empire in the modern era. Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church, one of the largest and most prominent megachurches in the United States, operates on a staggering $70 million annual budget. A significant portion of this revenue is derived from the lucrative book sales of Osteen, the church's charismatic pastor and author of several best-selling inspirational titles. This heavy reliance on book royalties and merchandising has long been a source of criticism for those who argue that Osteen's lavish personal lifestyle and the church's opulent facilities are at odds with the values of humility and self-sacrifice that are central to the Christian faith. The situation became even more contentious during the COVID-19 pandemic, when it was revealed that Lakewood Church had received $4.4 million in Federal Paycheck Protection Program (PPP) funds. These forgivable loans were intended to help small businesses and nonprofit organizations weather the economic storm caused by the pandemic. However, many were outraged that a megachurch with such substantial financial resources would access aid that was ostensibly meant for struggling small enterprises. Initially, Osteen denied that his church had received any pandemic-related government assistance, but government data later exposed the truth. Critics were quick to pounce, accusing Lakewood of improperly exploiting a program designed to support the most vulnerable businesses and organizations. They argued that a wealthy institution like Lakewood, with its massive budget and vast financial reserves, had no legitimate claim to taxpayer-funded relief aid. In response, the church defended its decision, stating that the PP funds were used solely to cover the payroll of its employees, many of whom would have faced layoffs or reduced hours without the government support. Lakewood maintained that it had acted within the guidelines of the PP program, which did not explicitly exclude megachurches or wealthy religious organizations from eligibility. Nevertheless, the controversy has further fueled the long-standing debate over the appropriate relationship between organized religion, affluence, and social responsibility. The public reacted with outrage and condemnation to the controversial actions of the Osteen family, which had a severe and lasting impact on their public image and reputation. The family's questionable decisions and conduct garnered widespread criticism, leading to a significant backlash from the community. The negative publicity and scrutiny they faced had far-reaching consequences as the Osteen name became synonymous with scandal and distrust. However, an even more tragic and devastating incident occurred on February 11th, 2024. A woman with a long-standing history of mental health challenges, accompanied by her 7-year-old son, entered the premises of the Lakewood Church between services and opened fire indiscriminately. Despite the chaos and panic that ensued, off-duty police officers who happened to be present at the time were able to eventually apprehend the shooter and prevent further loss of life. Tragically, the woman's young son and another man were critically injured in the attack, their lives hanging precariously in the balance. The media and public scrutiny quickly shifted to the Lakewood Church and its leadership, led by the influential pastor Joel Osteen. Questions were raised about the church's failure to take appropriate action, despite warnings from the shooter's former mother-in-law about her deteriorating mental state. The former mother-in-law of the shooter had repeatedly reached out to the church authorities, expressing her grave concerns about her daughter's deteriorating mental state and the potential danger she posed to the congregation. She had made numerous attempts to alert the Lakewood Church leadership, imploring them to take immediate action to address the worsening situation and implement robust security measures to safeguard the worshipers. However, it seemed that the church leadership had failed to heed these urgent warnings, neglecting to take the necessary steps to mitigate the impending threat. The lack of proactive response from the Lakewood Church leadership only served to compound the tragedy that unfolded. The community, and indeed the nation as a whole, was left in a state of profound shock and unimaginable grief, grappling with the devastating consequences of this horrific incident. The Lakewood Church, once a beacon of faith and a symbol of community, now found itself at the center of intense public scrutiny and widespread condemnation. The failure to prevent this tragic event, despite the clear forewarnings provided by the shooter's former mother-in-law, sparked a vital national conversation about the pressing need to address mental health issues within religious institutions. The incident also underscored the critical importance of strengthening security protocols in places of worship, ensuring that congregants can gather in a safe and secure environment to practice their faith without fear of violence. Furthermore, the tragedy at the Lakewood Church highlighted the pressing need for greater accountability and transparency from religious institutions when it comes to safeguarding the well-being of their congregants. The public demanded answers and accountability from the church leadership, questioning their actions, or lack thereof, in the face of the impending threat. This incident served as a wake-up call, compelling religious organizations to reevaluate their safety protocols, mental health support systems, and their responsiveness to warning signs and potential threats. The aftermath of this tragedy left the community and the nation grappling with profound sorrow and a deep sense of betrayal. The Lakewood Church, once a symbol of unity and faith, now found itself at the center of a national reckoning, forced to confront its own failures and the systemic issues that allowed this horrific event to occur. The path forward would require a comprehensive and collaborative effort to address the underlying challenges, ensure the safety of places of worship, and restore the public's trust in religious institutions. In response to the challenging situation facing Lakewood Church, Joel, the church's influential leader, has attempted to reassure the congregation and allay their concerns. He has emphasized that the church remains steadfast and is even growing stronger despite the difficulties they are currently navigating. Joel has emphasized the critical importance of unwavering faith in overcoming the fear and challenges that have arisen, suggesting that through their collective resilience and devotion, the church will persevere and continue to serve its members faithfully. However, the inability to access the email records from the previous 2 years has raised significant concerns among the congregation. This issue highlights the vital importance of maintaining robust and reliable record-keeping and data management systems within the church, particularly in the digital age where electronic communication has become the primary means of disseminating information and coordinating efforts within the church community. In the modern era, where technology has become deeply integrated into the daily operations and communication channels of religious institutions, the effective management of digital records and data has emerged as a critical imperative. The inability to readily access the email archives from the previous 2 years has exposed vulnerabilities in the church's information management practices, which could have far-reaching implications for the congregation's trust, the church's transparency, and its ability to respond to inquiries or legal requirements effectively. This challenge serves as a wake-up call for Lakewood Church and other religious organizations to prioritize the implementation of comprehensive data management strategies. This may involve investing in secure and redundant data storage solutions, establishing clear protocols for the retention and retrieval of electronic communications, and ensuring that all staff members are trained in these best practices. By proactively addressing these concerns, the church can bolster its resilience, maintain the confidence of its congregants, and ensure that critical information remains accessible and well preserved. As Lakewood Church navigates this situation, the leadership's ability to communicate transparently, demonstrate accountability, and implement robust data management systems will be crucial in fostering the continued trust and engagement of the church's members. The challenges faced today underscore the need for religious institutions to stay ahead of the curve in adapting to the digital landscape, ensuring that their record-keeping and information management practices are aligned with the evolving needs of their community. The situation also raises questions about the church's transparency and accountability to its members. The inability to produce these records may lead to a loss of trust and undermine the church's credibility, as members may wonder what other important information or communication is being withheld or misplaced. Moving forward, it will be essential for Lakewood Church and its leadership to address these concerns and implement measures to ensure the proper management and preservation of critical records and communications. This may involve investing in new technological solutions, revising record-keeping policies, and enhancing communication and transparency with the congregation. By taking proactive steps to address these issues, the church can regain the trust of its members and demonstrate its commitment to serving the community effectively. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to watch the next video on your screen, like this video, and subscribe to our channel for more updates.